Welcome to the Cumbria Chamber of Commerce podcast, your weekly update of business news and issues from around Cumbria. Find out how we support new business and help existing businesses to grow and flourish at cumbriachamber.co.uk. Now here's the Chamber's Business Engagement Manager, Julian Whittle, with this week's episode.
Hello, I'm here with Tiffany Solender, an International Trade Advisor with the Department for International Trade, or DIT for short, and we're going to talk about the help available to Cumbrian businesses that either want to start exporting or, if they export already, to target new markets. Tiffany, you've only recently joined DIT. Some listeners, though, will know you as the driving force behind Pogu, an award-winning business based at Staveley near Kendal that supplies road safety products for children. So why have you taken on the DIT role, and what does it involve?
Good afternoon, Julian. Thank you for inviting me here today. Well, Pogu's been, it's nearly 10th year, and we're currently exporting to over 16 countries. It's been quite a journey, full of ups and downs and laughter along the way, and maybe a few crying sessions. But I'm passionate about exporting. That's basically what it is. We launched Pogu. When we launched it, we weren't thinking of exporting at all. We thought the UK market was enough for us. But along the way, we've realised actually there's more to just the UK. So we decided to expand. I'm now in a fortunate position to work with the Department of International Trade as the export advisor for Cumbria, and I really want to help businesses. I've had the experience, I've done it. I can, I know what they're going through, and I really want to help local businesses see the world and actually show off their products and services.
So what does the role involve? What does being a DIT advisor mean in practical terms?
Basically, it means going around helping businesses, coming to speak to you as an advisor, explain, what services we have on offer. And even the simple questions of, how do I start? Would this product be okay? Or is the packaging okay? Little things like that I've already had the chance to sort of find out. If I can help those little questions, they're not even silly. These are the sort of questions you think, where can I Google that? Or, if you just ask the question, then you'll find out.
In UK exports hit 621 billion last year, which is the highest that they've ever been. Well, why should businesses export? What would you say are the main benefits?
Well, when you first launch your business, many of us don't actually think about the 6 billion people that are out there. And I'm not sort of, starting to think that those people all want to buy your products and service. But I think it's just to show that the UK is one country and there is so much more out there. The reason why I would definitely recommend exporting is, for a start, it spreads your risk. It increases your sales and your profits, and it's just getting your product out there. I mean, you spent so much time and effort actually developing or making this product and service that you kind of want to show it off and say, hang on a minute, let's get it out to the big wide world. So that's
the main, yeah. What about the help then that is available from DIT? I mean, tell me about the advice, the workshops and masterclasses that you offer.
Yeah, it's a whole range, to be honest. It's anything from, well, for a start, I would offer free advice, come into the business, find out what it's all about. And we're not talking about, the bigger businesses necessarily to start with. We're talking about the startups, the businesses that have been around thinking about exporting. We're not we're trying to help anybody and everybody who wants to or is even thinking about exporting. We offer brilliant workshops. These are quite specific with their topics, introduction to exporting, agents and distributors, anything that really helps that particular topic on exporting. And it's not actually just the actual network, it's not actually the actual topic or the workshop, it's the networking behind it. On that day, you've got all the like-minded businesses, a lot of people have already been through it. It's just those nuggets of information that are really, really helpful. Yeah.
And what about export finance and insurance?
Well, this is like a UK's export credit agency, and this is where they offer financial support with export contracts, or they offer working loans, or even offer insurance on payments abroad. It's basically a whole array of things, but it's basically there to support you as a business with working capital or whatever you may need.
Okay, and there's also an e-exporting program. I think the idea of that is helps businesses to export through e-commerce platforms.
That's right, and obviously the big one being Amazon, and we can actually help with that. I know the government's actually worked on some really great negotiating deals with some of these platforms, but there's other ones out there as well. There's a lot of Japanese platforms and country specific, which if you don't want to sort of put your product or service on Amazon, you can actually go for sort of the higher end luxury platforms out there too.
And you offer an export communication review. How does that one work?
Yeah, well, there's two things you can offer here. One is sort of an overall review, and you can choose your marketing material or your website to sort of be analysed by a specialist, and they would then advise you on how to actually take your website or your marketing material and target that or market that towards a specific country you're going for. The other option is something where it's match funding, and the where your current website can actually be internationalized. Because I don't know if you've ever done it, but if you've ever gone on holiday and you actually, I don't know, Google your website or you try and find your product, it's very rarely found because the search terms are very, very different.
Yeah.
But this would actually internationalize your website. So, obviously found by international customers.
Okay. Now, there's a lot of expertise in UK embassies and consulates. How can businesses tap into that expertise?
We've got a fantastic service called OMIS, and this stands for the Overseas Market Introduction Service. So a lot of businesses, obviously time poor, they have, this is a paid for service, but it's a fantastic one, where the embassy or consulate will actually go and find an agent or distributor or customer direct for you. Obviously you would give them the brief. And rather than your salespeople or you yourself trying to find these particular customers, they would do all the hard work for you. Now, people would say, oh, I could do that myself, but you don't have the backing of the embassy. They are sort of contacting the customers direct, which is pretty invaluable, really.
And can it help businesses who want to travel to trade fairs overseas, or maybe they want to join a trade mission to a particular target market? Yes,
this is brilliant. This is actually how we started. Pogu actually started with the first trade fair over in Germany, and we got some help with the funding to actually pay for some of the stand, and it was a sort of 3-day event, and it was absolutely brilliant, the most valuable experience so far. Because all the networking with like-minded businesses, and we had the support from the UK fair there, the organisers there as well, and we actually picked up 2 new distributors in those days as well, which was brilliant, really.
I see. Okay. Now, the UK is already the world's 6th biggest exporter. The government recently unveiled an export strategy which aims to boost exports as a percentage of GDP from 30%, which it is now, to 35%. And they're hoping that exports can grow as we target sort of fast-growing emerging markets. But, I wondered how is it really for businesses to export to countries such as Brazil or India or China?
Well, I think this is where the DIT and the advisors can really help a business. None of it's easy unless you have the support, I think. Just getting everything structured properly. We can help with the legislation, the standards, the intellectual property, which is key for some of these countries, translation and cultural issues. All of these, there's lots of points, there's lots of stages along the way, but if we can sort of line those all up, then it makes the whole process so much easier. And the idea is if you can sort of actually organise that model properly and the process, then you can actually replicate that for the next country, just tweaking it slightly.
Yeah, okay. I mean, you said you were talking a minute or two ago about your own business, Pogu, being a successful exporter. What was it that started your own export journey? What prompted you?
We started a few products on Amazon, as you do, and obviously into the European and worldwide marketplace. And then we started looking at a few trends and noticed actually they were coming from specific countries. And then we were approached by Sweden. So we realised actually because they are reflective, we specialise in reflective products, the automatic market would be Scandinavia. So, and actually, that's where most of our market share is these days. But also we also look at Australia as well as an option because of the because it is a seasonal product. We look at Australia to actually balance out that as well. So some hemisphere, absolutely,
northern hemisphere thing, yeah. And How did you find the help and support available from DIT when you were first starting?
I actually knew about a DIT through the Cumbrian Chamber, who were very good, and I know they've got a brilliant export documentation service.
Yes, that's right, we do.
Yeah, which is brilliant, which I have actually used as well. But I wanted to do something a little bit more practical as well as that service. And this is where we went to the trade show in Germany, and that really boosted our export market.
I see. And what lessons did you learn, from your own experience as an exporter that maybe you can apply to help other businesses?
I think probably start with looking at one country at a time, because it's very easy to sort of think, oh great, the world is my oyster and let's go for everything. If you just focus on one country and really do it well, and make sure that everything's transparent, it's finding the correct agent or distributor or customer is really important, because at the end of the day you want to be paid, and that's the key thing. And you want to make sure that because you spend your time like any other customer in the UK, you want that longevity, because at the end of the day it's so much easier to sell to a person that pays or a customer that pays well, and you have that relationship, rather than spending all your time having to find new agents for each year or every few years. Okay.
Anything else?
I think for me, I think exporting is fantastic. I think, there's a whole world out there. Personally, we've got the great internet here in Staveley. We've got the fells outside the door, and you don't have to be part of the rat race. It's amazing. You can pop on a plane to China or Germany or wherever you want to go, all from, being in Staveley, and, you've got an internet connection. I think Cumbria's a great place, and it's a great place and opportunity to export. Yeah.
What proportion of your sales are export now then?
I'd probably say 65%.
Really?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, then you're a good ambassador for exporting then, aren't you? Finally, Tiffany, how can businesses contact you?
Well, it'd be much easier if you contacted me through the Growth Hub, and then go from there.
Okay, that's great.
Look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you. Thanks very much. The Growth Hub's phone number is 0844 257 8450, or take a look at the website www.cumbriagrowthhub.co.uk.
Thank you for listening to the Cumbria Chamber of Commerce podcast. You can find out more about how we're supporting Cumbrian businesses at cumbriachamber.co.uk and cumbriagrowthhub.co.uk. In the meantime, thank you very much for listening, and we'll have another episode for you next week.